Most owners have raised their voice at their dog. Not out of cruelty, out of frustration, out of the specific exhaustion of asking for the same thing for the 14th time, out of the moment where the patience runs out and the volume goes up. It is human. It is understandable. And almost no owner who has done it knows what actually happened inside their dog in that moment, because the dog's response looks like submission, or guilt, or acknowledgement, and all of those things look like the communication landed. It did not land the way you think it did. What your dog actually experienced when your voice raised, what her nervous system registered, what her body did in response, and what residue the moment left in the relationship, is not what most owners assume. And knowing it does not produce guilt. It produces the specific information that changes how you handle the next moment of frustration in a way that works better for both of you. The first thing to understand is what your voice means to her nervous system, because it is the foundation of everything else. You are the most monitored sound source in her world. Your voice has been tracked, cataloged, and responded to more consistently than any other auditory input she receives. She knows the difference between your morning voice and your tired voice, your happy voice and your distracted voice, the voice you use when you're talking to her and the voice you use when you're talking past her. She has been building this map since the day she arrived, and the map is detailed in ways that most owners never realize. Which means that when the voice changes, when the volume increases, when the register drops or sharpens, when the familiar rhythm of your speech becomes something outside the ordinary range, she does not just hear a louder sound. She detects a significant departure from the baseline she has spent years memorizing. That departure is what her nervous system registers. Not the words, not the content. The specific, physiological reality of the person she is most attuned to producing a sound outside the range she has learned to expect from them. And her nervous system responds to that departure the way it responds to any significant, unexpected change in the environment, with activation. What happens in her body in the seconds after your voice raises is not a small thing. Her stress response activates cortisol and adrenaline, the same hormones that prepare any mammalian nervous system for threat, enter her bloodstream. Her heart rate elevates, her muscles engage, her attention narrows to the source of the activation, which is you, with the specific hypervigilant focus of an animal trying to gather enough information to determine what comes next. The behavior you see on the outside, the lowered body, the tucked tail, the flattened ears, the soft eyes looking up at you, is the visible surface of this activation. Owners read it as guilt, as understanding, as acknowledgement that she knows she did something wrong. Behavioral research examining canine responses to owner frustration has established that appeasement behavior, the lowered posture, the averted gaze, the soft, submissive presentation, occurs in response to owner emotional state, regardless of the dog's behavior. She is not showing guilt. She is showing the appeasement response that her nervous system produces when the dominant social partner in her world enters a state of significant emotional activation. She does not know she did something wrong. She knows you are distressed. They are not the same thing. This is the piece most owners miss entirely. The message you intended to send. That behavior was unacceptable is not the message she received. The message she received was, the person I depend on most is in a state that might be directed at me. I need to reduce the threat level. Her body produced the behaviors most likely to reduce that threat level, and because those behaviors look like remorse from the outside, the moment feels like it communicated, when the actual communication was almost entirely about emotional state rather than behavioral consequence. The second thing that happens is what the moment costs the relationship, and it is cumulative in a way that single incidents do not reveal. A dog who is raised at occasionally, in moments of genuine frustration, by an owner who is otherwise consistent and safe, absorbs the incident within the overall architecture of a secure relationship. The damage is real and worth minimizing. It is not permanent. A dog who is raised at regularly, whose experience of her primary person includes a consistent possibility of the activated, unpredictable state that the raised voice represents, begins to hold a low-level vigilance in the relationship that secure attachment should not require. She begins to monitor not just for external threats, but for the emotional state of the person who is supposed to be the safe base. She cannot fully rest in the relationship, because the relationship has given her reason not to fully rest. That monitoring is exhausting, not visibly. Dogs do not show exhaustion the way humans do, but the baseline of a dog who has learned that the safest person in her world is sometimes unpredictable is higher, more activated, less settled, than the baseline of a dog who has not had that reason. The raised voice does not have to be frequent to have this effect. It has to be unpredictable. The specific combination of safe most of the time and activated sometimes is more corrosive to the secure base than consistent harshness would be. because consistent harshness can be predicted. Unpredictable activation cannot. The third thing is what works instead, because this is not a conversation about suppressing frustration. It is a conversation about directing it. When the frustration peaks and the volume wants to rise, the most effective thing is the opposite of raising your voice. It is removing your engagement entirely. Not punishment, absence. Turn away. Leave the room if possible. Give yourself 30 seconds and give her the specific information that the current behavior has produced the withdrawal of your attention rather than the escalation of it. The absence of your engagement is a more legible communication than the raised voice, because it is specific where the raised voice is general. The raised voice says, I am activated and you are the nearest available target. The withdrawal says, this specific behavior produced this specific response. One of those is information. The other is noise. She is not trying to frustrate you. She is doing what her history, her biology, and her current level of training have equipped her to do. The behavior that is frustrating you is the behavior that has not yet been sufficiently reinforced in the right direction. And that is a training problem, not a character problem. And it has a training solution that does not require your voice to rise to deliver it. Think about the last time your voice raised at her. What she saw was the person her entire nervous system is organized around enter a state that her body could not classify as safe. What she produced in response was every appeasement signal available to her. Every behavior designed to reduce the activation in you, because reducing the activation in you is how she makes the environment safe again. She was not telling you she understood. She was telling you she was trying. And if you felt in the moment after a specific regret, a quality of looking at her lowered body in soft eyes and knowing something had just happened that you did not intend, that feeling was accurate. It was you reading what she was actually communicating, underneath the behavior that looked like guilt. She does not hold it against you. She does not have that mechanism. She loves you in the specific, total, fully committed way she has always loved you, including through the moments that cost her something. But you can give her fewer of those moments, not by being a perfect owner, by being an accurate one, by knowing what your voice does to her nervous system and letting that knowledge change what you reach for when the frustration comes. She has been meeting you more than halfway across every hard moment. This is you meeting her there too. Has there been a moment where you raised your voice and the look on your dog's face changed something in how you responded? And did you find a different approach that worked better? Tell me in the comments. If this is the kind of watching you want to keep doing, subscribing means the next one finds you.